Growing up in San Francisco, the early days statue was always something that felt really painful and oppressive. To see something etched in stone that portrayed history in such a downtrodden way.
It's always a slap in the face to our people, and we see that happening all over this country.
It always reminded us that as Indigenous people, we didn't actually have a place. What we were thought of continuously were as savages, as less than, that the white man came to save us.
When I first saw the early days statue, I think it put me back to the time of my ancestors during the mission system. And I think that's like where genocide started.
That was a time when people were being hunted down and slaughtered, and bounties were placed on their heads. Not only were our people murdered and taken from us, our culture was stripped from us.
Prior to my lifetime, our families were still in hiding. And I think that some of the folks do not understand some of the very first laws that were created in what is now called the state of California was extermination laws that actually legalized the killing of Native people.
I remember specifically someone had painted in red beneath it genocide, and they put a wine bottle in the hand of the missionary who was leaning down to hand this bottle to the Indian man who was seated on the ground. And it was a very powerful statement about genocide and about the distortion of history and what the true history is.
I think that we have to remove all these stereotypes and strip the world of this racism in order to build it back up with factually correct history and teaching people that not all Native Americans wear headdresses and feathers in our hair on a daily basis. We don't walk around the streets of San Francisco in buckskin. We're all people, we're the same as you. We have a 9-to-5 job and we go to school, but we're also different because our history and our ancestors and our culture and our arts make us different.
Public art is very powerful. As we can see, for 126 years, the common accepted imagery was upholding white supremacy. It is important that public art also evolves, and what was accepted and appropriate and apparent 120 years ago is not so any longer.
I think that it's important that the statue went down the way it did, with Indigenous people coming out from all different walks, all different places, and that it's important for our younger generation to see that we can change what history has put up that depicts us.
And that's what's powerful. That's what's powerful, to know that collectively we're able to remove that symbol, and now that we are now able to occupy that space in our own voice.
The Native American movements that were conducted in the 70s are extremely important to me because my grandpa was at the forefront of them, and he was making the world a better place so that I would grow up in a world where I had one less issue to face. And my generation could start from where he worked and continue working from that point.
That struggle has been going on for many years to remove this statue, but it's only one piece in all of San Francisco's history and all of this country's history about the misrepresentation of how this land was developed and colonized.
We have to fight to regain our languages. We have to fight to have access to our lands. We have to fight to keep our religions from being illegal. That's the legacy, is that we are in a continuous struggle.
I think those are ways of acknowledging our past so that we can move forward together. No one is going home. This has always been our home. But how do we learn to live in reciprocity with one another? And that's by acknowledging our histories and being able to go forward and telling the truth to history.